what really happened behind my palace walls is a truth no one dares to whisper aloud. A truth that breathes like fire beneath the golden ceilings and polished marble floors. To the world, the palace is nothing but a shimmering jewel, a monument of power, wealth, and unshakable legacy. But within its towering gates, behind the layers of security and the smiles that hide daggers, lies a battlefield not fought with swords or armies, but with shadows, schemes, and betrayal that strikes closest to the heart. Every hallway echoes with secrets, every conversation carries double meanings, and every gesture is a mask hiding intentions sharp enough to wound. Those who claim loyalty often speak the loudest of it, while their eyes betray the hunger of ambition. And I, the one born into this throne, the one raised to carry the weight of a crown, became the very target of the games, spun in whispers behind closed doors. They do not strike me in the open, for the laws of blood and duty bind their hands. Instead, they weave a net of tension around me, subtle but suffocating, designed to weaken my grip without ever drawing blood. Behind banquet smiles, there are bargains made with my enemies. Behind respectful bows, there are plans forged to see me fall. I feel it in the way silence lingers too long when I enter a room, in the way certain eyes never meet mine, in the way even laughter within these halls feels rehearsed, controlled, heavy with things left unsaid. They watch me closely not to admire me, not to follow but to measure every step I take, to calculate how close I am to the edge, to whisper among themselves whether I will stumble or whether they will be the ones to push me. And what makes this wound cut deeper than any blade is that it does not come only from enemies outside the gates, but from those who share my blood, my lineage, my name. A palace should be a home, a fortress where loyalty is unshakable. But mine has become a stage where even family plays their parts as actors in a cruel play. Why decisions are questioned not with the intention to guide me, but to corner me. Why victories are celebrated only as long as they do not outshine others. Every achievement is twisted, every failure magnified, until doubt becomes a weapon sharper than steel. And in the middle of the storm, I stand not as a prince with unquestionable authority, but as a man fighting against unseen chains, wondering each night whom I can still trust when dawn arrives. But perhaps the greatest cruelty of these walls is not the tension itself, but the silence it demands from me. For outside, the people see me as untouchable, flawless in poise, perfect in command, a symbol of stability and strength. They see the polished marble, the glittering chandeliers, the regal processions, and they believe the palace is paradise. They never see the cracks in the foundation, the shadows that linger after the lights go out, the weight of betrayal that sits heavier on my shoulders than any crown. And so I must smile. I must play the role they expect of me, even as the walls close in tighter, even as the air grows colder with distrust. For if I let the world see the truth that this palace is no home, but a cage, then I would give my enemies the one thing they have always desired, proof of my weakness. And so the war continues, silent yet merciless, behind the grand doors of my palace. A war not of soldiers, but of whispers, not of swords, but of schemes. A war that does not end when night falls, because the enemy is not outside, it lies within these very walls. And every morning when I awake, I wonder not what the day will bring, but who will betray me next. The palace has always been painted as a place of beauty, a sanctuary of gold where power flows effortlessly, and peace reigns supreme. Yet the deeper I live within it, the more I realize it is nothing but a labyrinth of masks and secrets. The marble pillars may shine, the chandeliers may sparkle, and the corridors may echo with the sound of music and celebration, but beneath that glitter is a suffocating silence that carries the weight of unspoken hatred. Every glance lingers too long, every word carries an undertone I cannot ignore, and every hand extended in friendship feels like it waits for the perfect moment to push a blade between my ribs. I walk these halls as a prince, yet I feel more like a prisoner surrounded by guards dressed as allies, courtiers dressed as friends, and family dressed as strangers. The tension grows with each passing day, weaving itself into the very air I breathe. When I sit at the long banquet table, I do not taste the food on my plate, I taste suspicion. When I attend council meetings, I do not hear the words spoken to me, I hear the quiet rustle of ambition. I can feel the hunger in their eyes, the silent wish that I falter, that I fail, that I am stripped of the crown before it even has the chance to sit firmly on my head. They smile at me in the day, bow to me in the night. What burns most is that the betrayal is not only from those outside my bloodline, but from those who share my very flesh and name. Brothers who should have been my shield instead watch me as rivals. Uncles who should have been my mentors, twist my words to weaken me. Even those who raised me as a child, who once held me with affection, now look at me with calculation in their eyes as if I am no longer a son, no longer a nephew, but simply an obstacle standing in the way of their desires. It is a cruel awakening, to realize that love inside these walls is conditional, that loyalty has a price, and that family itself can turn into the sharpest weapon aimed at your heart. I carry the crown not yet fully mine, but its weight already presses upon me like iron. It demands strength, composure, unshakable will, and the performance of perfection. The people outside these gates look at me, and see a prince who has everything: wealth, power, respect. They do not see the war raging behind the walls, the hidden daggers drawn in shadows, the endless games played in silence. They do not see the sleepless nights, the second guessing of every alley, the constant awareness that the person smiling beside me today might be plotting my downfall tomorrow. I am forced to play this game, to keep my enemies close and my fears hidden, for if I show the slightest fracture, if I allow a single weakness to slip through, I know it will be seized upon with merciless hands. And yet, I endure. Not because the palace offers me comfort or peace, but because I know that to survive here, one must become as unyielding as the stone walls themselves. Every glance, every whisper, every calculated silence, he carried them with me as weapons, learning to wield patience as a sword and silence as a shield. It is a lonely war, one where victory does not bring applause, but only another day of survival. For this is not a kingdom of harmony, but of quiet storms, and I am the one forced to stand in the center, unshaken, even as the walls around me threaten to collapse. Every corner of the palace has begun to feel like a stage, a place where everyone performs their part with polished smiles and carefully measured words. The nobles bow too low, their voices dipped in syrup, but I can sense the weight of resentment behind their courtesy. They see me not as their leader, but as a barrier, someone who stands between them and the power they secretly crave. Their laughter during the feasts rings hollow, their loyalty in public too rehearsed, and when I look into their eyes, I catch glimpses of a hunger that no banquet could ever satisfy. The walls, though adorned with gold, seem to press closer each day, holding secrets in their shadows, and amplifying the whispers that slither through the corridors when they believe I am not listening. Family, the very blood that should protect me, has become the sharpest reminder that nothing within these walls is sacred. My brothers, once my companions in childhood games, now look at me with eyes that measure my every move, as though waiting for me to stumble. My uncles, whose advice should have been a guiding light, speak in riddles designed to twist my thoughts and undermine my confidence. Even those who raised me, whose arms once offered safety, now regard me with suspicion, as if affection has been replaced by calculation. What wounds me most is not the rivalry of strangers, but the betrayal of kin realization that even love, within these walls, is a currency that can be traded when ambition demands it. There are nights when the palace falls into silence, when the music has ceased and the torches flicker in the dark, and it is in those hours that the tension is at its heaviest. I walk through the empty halls and feel the echo of steps, not my own, shadows moving just beyond sight. The paintings of my ancestors watch me with stern faces, as if warning me of the trials they endured and the cost of wearing a crown. I wonder often if they too felt this loneliness, if they too dined with enemies dressed as friends, if they too lay awake at night, questioning the loyalty of everyone around them. It is a cruel inheritance, not the wealth, not the power, but the endless burden of distrust that seeps into the marrow of a ruler's bones. The outside world will never know these truths. To the people beyond the palace gates, I am a figure wrapped in glory, a prince with unshakable dignity, and a future carved in certainty. They see festivals, processions, and ceremonies, never the silence that follows when the crowd disperses. They cheer for a crown they believe is unchallenged, never imagining the silent war that rages unseen, a war fought not with swords, but with whispers, alliances, and betrayal. If only they knew how fragile it all feels, so easily trust crumbles, how quickly loyalty shifts, how close the knife is to my throat even as they raise their voices in praise. Yet even in the midst of this suffocation, I remain. I wear the mask. The palace may try to bend me, to drown me in its venom and deceit, but I refuse to let it. I will not falter beneath its weight. If they wish to test me, let them. For though they see only a prince they wish to weaken, I know within me there is something far stronger and unyielding resolve that no whisper, no dagger, no betrayal can destroy.